Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first virtual town hall of the Guild of Students for the academic year 2021-2022. We just want to say a special thank you to everyone who is tuning in to us right now on Facebook and YouTube. We have quite a number of topics to cover today. We will be speaking about the amenities fee. We will be discussing the Guild's position on the reopening of semester one as well as registration. And we have two very special presentations from Campus Bursary as well as the Alma Jordan Library. So thank you to everyone for tuning in with us. We have Mr. Guild President Kobe Sandy, who will be doing a brief presidential address for us to begin this evening's proceedings. Just to note, I am your moderator for today, Tamika Thomas, Guild Public Relations Officer, and we begin because we have a lot to discuss. So President Sandy, I hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam PRO and moderator, for the welcome. And I would like to say good evening to our members listening far and wide on our platforms this afternoon. We have indeed a lot to talk about, and this is the first virtual town hall for the Guild of Students for the academic year. And it is an effort for us to bolster communications among our members, among you, the students of the UWI St. Augustine campus. As you know, the Guild of Students under Ordinance 1.3 of the university says that we are the official means of communication, the recognized means of communication between the powers of the UWI as well as the members, the students of the university. So we are here to present to you the Guild's position on various items. We'll be discussing in depth where we are going with the student amenities fee. We have with us, of course, a team from Bursary, as you know, and as you would have seen, that the financial clearance system has been changed to better suit the needs of us as students. And we know you have questions, you know we have concerns, and we have a team today who will present to you what the system is about. We'll be discussing the opening of semester one and what it means to us as students. And certainly I would like to stay online, get your friends, get your classmates, get your colleagues to join on this live that is available on YouTube and Facebook, and to listen, to ask your questions, to get them out, and of course to understand the direction that the Guild is going in the academic year on these items. So I want to thank you so much for coming on, stay tuned, and we have a lot in store happening. So I yield back to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you so much for the address, Mr. President. As he would have said, we do indeed have quite a number of items to discuss this evening, and we will be getting the ball rolling immediately with our special guests from Campus Bursary, who are going to do a lovely presentation for us on the new UWI pay system. The system was launched recently. As of today, it was communicated to the students via our UWI email, both staff and students. You can also check out the Guild's social media accounts for more information on fee pay. Check us out, particularly on Instagram at UWI STA. In our highlights, we have any information you need to know about fee pay. So, introducing for our fee pay presentation, we have with us today Ms. Caroline Gooding, who is the manager of Campus Bursary Accounts and Receivables, and she is accompanied by Ms. Cora Howard, who is the accounting supervisor, as well as Ms. Lisa Ali, who is the accounting assistant. So we just want to say a special thanks to them for being here with us today, and send your questions, send any concerns that you may have about the system. We are heading into a question and answer segment after. So Ms. Gooding and her team, I hand it over to you now to make this presentation on the fee pay system.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas, and thank you to Mr. Sandy and the Student Guild for the invitation this evening to make a presentation on fee pay. So as Ms. Thomas would have indicated, I am Caroline Gooding, the Senior Financial Manager, Bursary Student Accounts and Receivables. And co-presenting with me this afternoon will be Mrs. Cora Howard and Ms. Lisa Ali. So what is FEPE? FEPE is a new initiative designed to issue automatic financial clearance and automate the management of the payment plan process for all students at UWI St. Augustine campus via the TouchNet platform. TouchNet, what is TouchNet? TouchNet is used by around about 17 million students globally in 19 countries and has about $37 billion in transactions. TouchNet is not new to the campus. We've been using it for the last 7 years. So it's a robust system. We just want to emphasize it's a very robust system. It's tried, tested, and true, and it's globally used. So with the launch of FEPE, we have a modified registration process. So I'll just go through with you these 7 steps in summary. So first, you get your registration information. Secondly, you register for GATE, your GATE e-service ID for TNT nationals, if applicable. And remember, GATE is now for undergrad students. You go to academic advising, step 3. Step 4, you select your courses online. And step 5, you enroll in FEPE to obtain financial clearance. So this is a new step, and enrolling in FEPE is mandatory. Students must accept the legal conditions of the payment plan in order to complete the enrollment. Step 6, get your UWI ID smart card. Step 7, in order to maintain the financial clearance that you would have been granted in step 5, you are required to submit all your registration documents. And there is a change in the way that your documents will be submitted, and we'll go through that later on in the presentation. We will be doing so via e-courier, so no longer would you be submitting it via to the email inboxes, the faculty inboxes. So to maintain financial clearance, you must ensure that all your required installment payments are made by the stipulated due dates. An enrollment fee of $35 is spread over the number of installment payments. Financial clearance. So we just want to remind you that financial clearance grants access to your UWI student ID card, the health services unit, My Secure Area, sporting facilities such as the gym and the swimming pool, your UWI parking pass, My e-learning, which is needed in order to access the online teaching services, library services, access to examinations, and of course, graduation. So just to recap, loss of financial clearance will impact your ability to access My e-learning, access to exams, library services, and your ability to graduate. So the automated payment plans are categorized into 2 areas. We have sponsored students and we have non-sponsored students. Sponsored students are those who will be funded by, for example, GATE, GORTT scholars, and students who are sponsored by regional governments. Non-sponsored students are your self-funded students, your postgraduate students. You will fall into that category. Now, the payment plan, there are 3 installments. For semester 1, the deadline dates for your installments are as follows. First installment is due on the 2nd of October. The second installment is due on the 15th of October, and the third installment on the 15th of November. The installment payments are as follows. The first installment, 15% is due, and that 15% more or less captures what you would have been considered your compulsory fees. The second installment, 15% is due, and the third installment is 70%, and this is for the sponsored students. So you may ask, why 70% in the third installment? And the reason for that is by that time, we are expecting that you would have received a response from the GATE office as to your means test assessment. So you will know by then what is the exact amount you would need to pay for your final installment. So we are encouraging you to apply for GATE early. We have partnered with the GATE office, and they have committed, once they get our email, our GATE submissions, our GATE applications, they're going to be processed as quickly as possible so that you can get that response to your means test assessment. For non-sponsored students, the percentage of fees due for the first, second, and third installments are 40%, 30%, and 30%, and it's due on the same deadline dates. Semester 2, the deadline dates are the 1st of February for your first installment, 28th of February for your second installment, and the 31st of March for your third installment. The installment payments are broken down in the same way, and for summer, it's broken up into, you'll have 2 installments and not 3. And the first installment will be due on the 31st of May, and the second installment on the 30th of June. So these are the deadline dates, your installment payment amount. So what is the impact of your selected payment method? So the method you choose for making your payments, excuse me, would directly affect when a transaction is reflected on your account. So if you choose to make, these are the payment methods, via My Secure Area, using a valid credit card or a new, the new debit chip cards. If those are used, your student account will be instantaneously updated. The other payment options, which always existed, we'll maintain those. Those are online bank transfers, wire transfers for foreign students, and over-the-counter payments at any branch of Republic Bank. Now, we encourage you, when you make the over-the-counter payments using any other bank payment options, excuse me, you provide us with the proof of payment. And the updating of your student accounts using these other bank options, payment options, is within 3 to 5 business days. And the reason for that is because we need to wait for the bank to do the processing and send in the documents to us as the proof. So we're encouraging you as well, if you submit your proof of payments to us early, your student accounts can be updated very quickly. So I'll now hand over to Ms. Howard, who will take us through what are your responsibilities as students with FIPE.
Thank you, Mrs. Gooding. Okay, so we're identifying 2 main responsibilities that we expect from our students. The first important one is that you must enroll in a payment plan in order to receive financial clearance. So this is mandatory for all students. The second important thing that you must remember to do is submit your required financial documents and pay your fees by the agreed due dates to maintain financial clearance. So here we have details of all these documents that should be submitted. And like Mrs. Gooding said earlier, we have a new means by which this would be done, which we will speak about later. So you must submit your signed fee assessment invoice, a signed GATE application form where applicable, your scholarship sponsorship letter where applicable, submission receipt if you're a postgraduate student, letter from government if you're a regional student for economic cost, and proof of payment if your payment is not done via My Secure Area. So if you had made your payments at the bank over the counter, or you've done an online transfer, you must remember to submit that proof of payment to us. So we are now using eCourier for our students to submit all registration documents. And there are 2 links that would be provided. The first one is for submission of documents. Once you have enrolled in the payment plan, you must submit your documents. This would be the first link that you submit your documents through. And there's a second link for any proof of late payment. So if you missed your installment and you received an AR hold on your account, there's a second link which you must submit that proof of payment through. And what that does is allows us to deal with that matter quickly so that the AR hold can be removed. So these links can be found on the registration webpage, And it will also be included on our Bursary website, which will be launched soon. So in summary again, reminder, documents must now be submitted via e-courier, not using the student account faculty inboxes because these would be disabled. And when you're first submitting your documents via courier, you will be asked for information such as your name, your contact number, and your email address. And I want to stress here, students, you must remember to use your UWI student email address when you are submitting those documents. If you do not use your UWI student email address, your message or your email would not be acknowledged. Documents to be submitted must be in one PDF attachment, and you must rename it with your student ID number, your student name, and the abbreviation for your faculty, FSC or FSS. So in summary, key concepts, FeePay is supported by TouchNet, Bill Plus Payment Module. FC financial clearance will be granted to you automatically once you are successfully enrolled in the payment plan. All students would be required to enroll in a payment plan. So even if you decide to pay all your fees up front, you must remember to enroll in the payment plan first because that is how you are granted financial clearance. Students will be required to pay via 3 installments for semester 1 and 2, and 2 installments in the summer period. And lastly, accounts receivable hold will be placed on your account for any missed installments. So we're just going to identify some benefits with this new FeePay system. You have anywhere real-time mobile access that allows you, the student, to perform self-service activities such as enroll in the payment plan, review your student account activity, and make payments. Automated payment plans are created based on your eligible fees. This allows all students to benefit from a payment plan as this is no longer dependent on your fee balance. Automatic financial clearance is granted on successfully enrolling in a payment plan. Enrollment in the payment plan is mandatory. Email reminders would be sent to the student's UWI email when a payment is becoming due. All payment options that existed before are still available. So students have the option to make flexible payments at any time before the installment due date. Online payments can be made via credit card and or the new debit chip cards. This would be the preferred option as your account is updated instantaneously. And lastly, automatic payments can be set up online using your credit or debit chip cards. And what that allows for you is that you don't always have to sign into FeePay to make a payment. You could set up an automatic payment that would allow for the funds to be taken off from your card when they are becoming due. So I hand back over to Mrs. Gooding.
Thank you, Cora. So FeePay, our communication assets, we will be sending out messages via these platforms. Direct email blasts, as you all indicated, you would have received the notice of the launch of FeePay. All social media platforms, the usual one, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the campus website, the Guild WhatsApp messages, student portal, LinkedIn, and UWI Today. We also have videos. Video concepts were done. We have an instructional video, and that is, you can access that on the registration website, and it will also be available on the Bursary's website. And we also have short promotional videos for FeePay. So we have also identified some messages that we would like you to remember. Number one, we want to encourage you to pay online using your credit or debit chip cards to allow for instantaneous updates to your account. We encourage you to use your UWI email addresses when contacting us. We encourage you to apply for Gate early, and I explained before, it's so that you can get a response to your means rate assessment. So that will help to determine what your installments would be. And FeePay interfaces seamlessly on other mobile platforms. Bursary website. This will soon be launched, and we just want to go through with you the contents of that website. There will be details on how to enroll in FEPE, your payment options, frequently asked questions, which were done in two parts. One specifically related to FEPE, and the other will address other matters such as gate, queries on AR holds, medical insurance, etc. E-courier for the uploading of documents, details of our bursary team, how to contact us, and service desk. Now, service desk will be another new initiative, and that is a medium you would use to contact us if you have a query. It is broken down into 5 different categories. So if your question is related to FEPE, you would select that option. If it's gate, if it's a refund question, a student medical insurance question, you just click the drop-down menu, make your selection. And of course, there's also the option for you to type in a little message to us, and we'll address your queries. So students, I want to thank you so very much for the opportunity for the Bursary Students Account and Receivable section to present this new initiative to you. And on behalf of the entire team, we wish you all the very best on this, your new exciting journey. So over to you, Ms. Thomas. Thank you.
So once again, thank you so much to Ms. Gooding and Ms. Howard for that excellent presentation on UWI. I see that we have quite a number of questions coming in both on the Facebook and the YouTube, and we will get to them now in our question and answer segment on the UWI system, which will be done by Ms. Elisa Ali from Campus Bursary Students Accounts and Receivable along with the team. So the first general question, Ms. Ali, is why exactly was the FEPE system introduced?
So good afternoon, everyone. So to take that first question, we felt it necessary to introduce a system that would assist students to gain financial clearance faster, easier, as well as the payment plan. We all know that it was done on a manual basis. So for us to be able to automate and structure that process, that is why the FEPE system was introduced.
So thank you so much for that. And I see that they are asking for students who tend to pay their fees upfront. I have 2 questions about that. Is it possible that students can pay the total of their fees within the first installment?
Yes, the system allows you. The important thing is that, so yes, even though it's called a payment plan, the important thing is for students to actually complete that enrollment. And after they have completed that enrollment, they're free to pay. If they want to pay out everything in full, they can do so. If they want to use the installments as the plan has made that arrangement, they can also do that. What the system does, once it recognizes that a student would have paid their entire fees, it would simply do what we call a recalculation, and it will net off against all of the other pending installments.
Okay, thank you for that. And the second question coming out of that would have been, how does it affect clinical MBBS and the FMS students who would have completed registration already prior, probably around April? And do they have to enroll in the plan if they have already paid their tuition in full or partly to continue having financial clearance?
All right, so we know with those clinical students, they are what we consider out of sync, meaning that their registration doesn't fall in line with the regular August-September batch. So yes, they would have already enrolled, but we are still not enrolled, sorry, they would have already selected their courses online, but we're still asking if they enroll in FEPE. And the reason why we're asking them to enroll, one of the reasons is to maintain that financial clearance on their account. So they would have gotten a provisional clearance in order to be able to get the full financial clearance for the semester. We're asking that they enroll. And the second would be, so a lot of those students would be accessing our payment plan. So in order to have that system automated as well, we're asking that they enroll in FEPE.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. Heading back to the first question on why exactly the system was introduced, students are asking about the $35. So why is it that they have to pay this $35 for this enrollment?
All right, so before I answer a question to you, I want to make it absolutely clear the enrollment fee is not a compulsory fee, meaning that it doesn't fall with the other compulsory fees that students have. So when we're referring to compulsory fees, we want to make sure that we don't include the enrollment fee in that, right? Just for us to make sure that we get the language okay. So as Mrs. Gooden would have shown you guys in that presentation, TouchNet is a vastly used system. And it is not, given that it's a very robust, unique system, it comes at a cost for the university to be able to use it and for us to be able to use this to benefit students. So the maintenance on that, it costs us a good bit of US dollars every year. So that is simply the maintenance fee on that system so that we are able to have that system functional for students.
Okay, nice. And they're also asking about the bank deposit slips. President, I don't know if you want to interject here. Go ahead.
I wanted to interject that. So this is not a fee to go into UWI's pockets. That's what you're saying. Because that's a question members are asking. Because we want to know that if you are putting this fee for UWI, given the financial difficulties they are facing. So if you can make that clear as well.
Well, the fee is going to be used solely for the upkeeping of the system.
Okay.
Thank you very much, yes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ali. And back to the bank deposit slip, what should it be under? Should it be a payment that's made under, for example, other? What would it be noted as?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yes, in terms of debit and credit cards, they're asking under what payment should the fee pay be made? So is it that it's going to be listed as under other or tuition? What exactly is it going to be listed on the bank slip as?
The bank slip, we still keep that as over the counter because that is a physical piece of paper that you're going to get when you go physically into the branches, Republic Bank branches. That is the document that you will get as your proof of payment. So that is absolutely separate from the other methods of payment. So let me just go over the methods of payments for you, right? The first is the use of fee pay system, which allows you to use credit cards as well as the local debit chip cards that are recently introduced by our local banks. So once students have either of those, they are free to pay using the online system. And it is actually we're pushing that as our preferred method simply because it allows your account to be updated immediately. So there's no delay in having to receive any sort of documentation from anywhere in order for the funds to be applied to the student account. The second method of payment that you have, if students use online banking, they could use the student account number and transfer the funds. And in that way, we're asking if you use online banking and you do an online transfer, you send us a proof of or a snapshot of the transaction being successfully completed. That way we can match against our bank statement so that we're able to apply it or upload it to the respective account. We also have our foreign students. We know that they will be paying through wire transfers. We're not limiting that at all. So that is another method of payment. And finally, the student bank deposit slip, as you mentioned, that is where you go physically into the bank and you pay over the counter. We would require the front and back of that as a proof of payment.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for that clarification. And just to add to that, you're confirming that the system accepts cards from all banks.
Yes.
The system is made to accept.
Yeah, we tested that. Yeah, we tested it out with the local debit chip cards, especially, and yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that clarification. More questions are coming in about the amenities fee, which we will get to in a minute. But thank you so much for the Q&A segment about the UWI fee pay system. And one final question, can you just clarify a bit on the Bursary's website that is set to launch on Monday? What exactly can we expect again?
Sure. So we felt it necessary to have a central place where students could get information very easily when it comes to anything related to financial affairs. So that was the reason behind us launching the Bursary website. What you're going to find there, you're going to find information, of course, related to fee pay, the tutorial video, the frequently asked questions. We have another frequently asked questions, and I think it was covered in the presentation, where it will touch on questions pertaining to GATE, medical insurance, refunds, any of the general categories that students tend to have their questions on. It will cover those. We will have a section related to GATE, because we know that there's a lot of changes that took GATE with GATE within recent times. We will have the link for e-courier, and more importantly, in order for students to be able to reach out to us, we introduced the service desk. So on that Bursary website will be the jot forms where students will be able to go in and put in the required fields, categorize whatever their query is on, and it will come straight to us.
Okay, great. Thank you. And one final clarification. Students are asking what exactly are the compulsory fees to be paid this semester?
So you will still have your, now remember, the compulsory fees are charged at the beginning of the academic year. But with fee pay, you get to pay it in 3 installments because of the payment plan. Your tuition and your compulsory fees, you're allowed to pay it in 3 installments. So your compulsory fees still stand, which will be your guild fee, your ID card fee for new students, health insurance, accident insurance, the amenities fee. Campus executive management made a decision that the amenities fee will be payable in 2 tranches. So $250 will be payable in semester 1 and $250 will be payable in semester 2. So all the regular, and for postgrad students, you have the registration fee as well.
And Lisa, if I can just add, the caution money for first-year students, that's included in the compulsory fees as well.
Yes, thanks.
Great. So concerning GATE, students would like to know what exactly is the 15% that they need to pay for the first 2 parts of the payment, and does that include the compulsory fees as well?
So if going back to when it was discussed, the reason why we set out the installments the way they were, we know with GATE, it's highly dependent on your means rate. Whatever means rate you get as a student, we will not know that upfront. Most of the time, students would not know what that is upfront. So when we worked out so as not to disadvantage GATE funded students in any way, or any sponsored students for that matter, the 15%, we used the Faculty of Engineering, I believe, and based on the maximum of credits that you can do as a student in the Faculty of Engineering. And we use that faculty simply because that is the highest fee, per credit fee for an undergrad program. So using that, when we worked out the 15%, it worked out to what a student would have normally paid as their full compulsory fees at the beginning of the year, the academic year. So that's where the percentage came about. And what the reason why we're asking students, especially persons who are accessing GATE funding, is to, as much as possible, try and do your application very early. That gives the GATE office sufficient time to process and do all the necessary checks on their end, so that by the time you reach perhaps the 2nd or 3rd installment, your GATE application would have been approved. We know what means rate you are getting, and then we could apply that payment to your account. Of course, going back to it being highly dependent on the means rate for a student, if it turns out that you're getting 50% and the next 50%, you still have a portion to pay, that goes back to being the student's responsibility to pay the difference.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We are actually winding down on a question and answer segment, but we do have a few coming from Facebook and YouTube. So students would also like to know, can they continue sending wire transfer receipts to the Bursary at this time?
Yeah, they could continue. But what we're asking is that when we do, at least from the 23rd, we would ask you to use the appropriate facility, which is e-courier.
Okay, thank you.
And it is, just to mention, it is on the registration 7 steps already on the website. So the link is easily accessible there. And of course, the Bursary's website as well.
Great. And lastly, students are still thinking that they have to pay the $35 separate to the tuition. Can you just clarify on that a bit for us?
Sure. So yes, it is a fee that is totally separate from tuition and compulsory fees, but it's not a fee that we're asking you to pay upfront. When the charge is posted to your account, the payment plan is going to take that into consideration, and it is going to combine all three: the enrollment fee, tuition, compulsory fees, and it's going to split that into the 3 installments. So that $35 is really going to be spread across the 3 installments.
Great. And back to Gate, students who are 100% funded, how do they get a refund if possible? Does the system allocate for that?
Yes. We will be allowing the refunds of the persons who are 100% Gate, and they will have to request it. So that goes back to reaching out to us on the jot forms on the Bursary's website, because it is detailed enough for us to know what exactly is the type of refund that you're asking for. But yes, the 100%ers, and if I could add, students who are JRTT scholars, national scholars.
Great. And when will the bursary recipients be announced, or when will this be available on the website? How soon?
You're asking me
As
about
of
the
Monday?
national bursaries?
Yes, on the website itself, the information, when will
So-
it be available?
Remember, the university will not be the ones in charge of the national bursary, right? So students are still going to have to liaise with their scholarship officers concerning that.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for answering all of our questions, Ms. Ali. Thank you to Ms. Gooding and her team, Ms. Howard as well. This was the Uefa Pay System Introduction by Campus Bursary Students Accounts and Receivables. We thank you for all of your questions. We continue to welcome questions as well in the Facebook chat, in the YouTube chat. Also reach out to us on our Instagram as well. On our Instagram and our Facebook, we do have our link tree linked in both bios, where you can find the FAQ for the Uefa Pay System. It is the first link, so any other questions that you may have, the FAQ booklet will be able to answer all of that for you. So, Ms. Gooding, we'd just like you to share a few final words on the introduction of the FEPA system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. So as my final words, I encourage you to embrace this new system, which was specifically implemented for you to ease your issues and to just make everything easier for you. So we encourage you, just go on, click, enroll in the FEPA, get your instant financial clearance. And any questions, please feel free to contact us using our service desk. So once again, thank you for the opportunity, and we wish you all the very best. Good night to all.
Thank you so much once again. So next we will be moving on smoothly to the Guild's President's presentation very briefly on the amenities fee. And we will now be discussing the Guild's position on it, as well as the opening of semester 1 and all there is to know about that, as well as registration. And we will now be moving on to the presentation by Ms. Georgia Alexander, my mistake, from the Alma Jordan Library, who will give a few words on everything about the library's runnings for the new semester before we head into our presentation by Guild President.
Good evening, everybody. Are you all hearing me and seeing me?
Yes.
Okay, so I will be brief. I would first like to say congratulations to the newly elected Guild and a warm welcome on behalf of the UWI campus libraries and by extension, the Alma Jordan Library, which I am representing today because that's where I'm based. It's just basically some talking points to just make people aware, as well as to remind students of what the libraries have to offer. So basically, the UWI campus libraries would like you all to take full advantage of the exciting wealth of resources, particularly our e-resources that the campus libraries have to offer, because especially now, since we're under a state of emergency and the physical building is closed, we would really like students to tap into the e-resources because they're pretty much underutilized. And it's only when students start to get into them, they realize, wow, this is what I've been missing. So I would encourage you to visit the library's website, Alma Jordan Library's website. It's very easy. You don't have to remember the URL. You can just do a simple Google, the Alma Jordan Library, and it comes up. Just a quick, did you know? Our collections contain the most up-to-date information resources for all faculties, specialized research centers, institutes on campus, and currently provides access to 257 databases. These are sound databases from scholars, peer-reviewed articles. So it's not fake news, it's good information, solid, that you can use for your assignments and your projects. We have 123,193 e-journal titles, 67,202 ebooks, 600,000 books, monographs, and 975 print journal titles. Of course, that's when the physical library is open, you have access to those. So in the meantime, we encourage you again to use the e-resources available to all registered UWI students. And it's for free. Your enrollment at the UWI entitles you to use these resources for free. Apart from the actual resources, we also have a sizable body of Caribbean research, which may be accessed in terms of maps, microforms, newspapers, theses, photographs, and history interviews, and over 150 special heritage collections in the West Indian and Special Collections Division. That's on second floor. And just in case you didn't know a little tidbit, people from all over the world, researchers, scholars, come and they seek out our collection, that WI collection. And we have it right here. It's a little gem. To some people, it might be the best kept secret, but we would like you all to know about it and tell others and make use of it. There's some versions of information and materials that you can still access via online, now that the library is physically closed. However, when that time comes, and hopefully soon, and you can get back into the library, feel free to come and explore. In terms of campus library services, in addition to traditional loan services, we provide orientation for new and returning students, and that will be coming up in September, where we have orientation videos and a virtual orientation plan for you because of COVID-19. Unfortunately, before it used to be in person, we used to have exciting prizes, it used to be more engaging, but we're basically capped to a virtual environment, so we're making the best of it. Classroom research consultation, year-round information literacy, instruction, reference assistance. We have interlibrary loan service. So if you need something from another campus, be it Mona or Cave Hill, to do your research, we can access that for you. But because of the pandemic, we have not been doing any interlibrary loans for health and safety reasons. We do still have document delivery. So if you need a particular document that you can't find anywhere, we can research that and get that to you. Dissertation, thesis checking, web-based guides, etc. So when you get to that part of your academic journey at the end and you have your thesis or your dissertation to present, to graduate, we have our liaison librarians who are specialized in the different citation formats to the respective disciplines. And this service is free of charge, so take advantage of all these things, the things that are relevant now and in time to come. It's good to be aware of what's available to you so you don't have to be scampering around and feeling overwhelmed. We're there to support your research and learning needs as well. We also provide facilities ranging from audiovisual room, the AV room, which is on the third floor of the library, computer labs, photocopying, printing, scanning equipment, microform access, group study rooms, and areas for quiet study. The library has various helpful LibGuides available as quick reference resources to assist you with your assignments and projects, along with a team of friendly and knowledgeable liaison librarians and staff. It's not just our librarians at the Alma Jordan Library and the campus libraries who know what they're talking about. Our staff is also very knowledgeable in a wide amount of areas. So anybody you can talk to, even if they can't help you, they know who to refer you to. So you're in good hands all around. There's also our latest Ask the Librarian service. It's relatively new. It's an online chat service, just how you go on and you have chat like Amazon chat, Digicel chat. We have a chat where you can have your questions and queries answered in real time. So staff is scheduled each session, and they sit and they wait for your questions and they answer you, whether they have to refer you if it's something that needs further research, but they do get back to you, or they're able to answer it right there on the spot. So we have that service. It runs from Monday to Friday during the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., except on public holidays. There's also an extensive list of FAQs available on our website. Look out for our suite of quick instructional videos, which will be coming soon to a platform near you in the new semester, which will give you more in-depth information of basically some of the things I'm talking to you about now. I'd also like to remind students about the intellectual property help desk. So UWI has an intellectual property help desk. It's physically located at the Alma Jordan Library. However, in times of this pandemic, it's now a virtual session via Zoom. So you can get a free consultation if you want to patent something, if you have copyright issues, if you just want to learn, you have any question, you have an invention, your work, you can reach out. And these are qualified, experienced professionals out of the Ministry of Legal Affairs from the Trinidad and Tobago IP office. So it's not just random people. They are people who have been in the business. They're well connected to World Intellectual Property Office, WIPO in Geneva. So you basically send an email to intellectualproperty.helpdesk@sta.ue.edu, but you don't have to remember these URL. Everything I'm talking about now is available, that you'll find out under the services section tab on our Alma Jordan Library website. So you can feel free to explore our website, and all these things are here and so much more. So due to the closure and the state of emergency, our staff, they're working from home to continue to serve you to the best of our ability. If you have a query, feel free to reach out to us at CAS. The CAS really stands for Circulation and Access Services at sta.ue.edu. So again, that's CAS@sta.ue.edu. That also will be available on the library's website. And last but not least, our Facebook page, which is very much a place where we interact with students. We post interesting stories, updates, important notices, everything you need to know that's going on and more. It's a pretty vibrant page. We would love for you to like it, to share, to comment, to hear from you. So it's a very engaging page. You can use the messenger aspect of our page to send us a query, a question, a concern, and we try to answer in a very timely manner. Right? And I think most people are happy in the response time. So basically that is my, my few minutes on your platform. Thank you for inviting me. We hope that you all will become UWI Campus Libraries ambassadors and spread the word. We have so much to offer. We are really looking forward to a continued relationship with this new Guild Council. We've had really good relationships with the past Guild Councils so that you all can share, you know, with your peers, let them know what's going on in the library. We share stuff from the Guild on our page. So it's a two-way, a mutual relationship. So we would really appreciate that. And in closing, I'd like to say, with all this inclement weather that we've been having, you know, there's an expression that says, come in, the weather is fine. So we'd like to let you all know, although you can't physically come into the Alma Jordan Library, please come in, the weather is fine. It's always fine at the Alma Jordan Library and the UWI Campus Libraries. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Georgia Alexander from the Alma Jordan Circulation and Access Services Division. She would have briefly spoken to us about all of the resources that the library has to offer to students at this time in the virtual space. So please be sure to check out the website. The website link is in our chat at this moment, but just to reiterate, libraries.st.ue.edu. So we will now be moving into another very hot topic everyone has been waiting on so far, where we will be discussing the amenities fee with our very own Guild President, Mr. Kobe Sandy. So, President, I welcome you, and we are here to discuss. We just want to remind everyone watching, please send your questions. Yes, this is a very open space where you are free to speak your mind, but we just kindly ask that you do so as respectfully as possible. We are here to get answers, and we can't do that if there seems to be any conflict. So just a gentle reminder to everyone, we will now be discussing the amenities fee. So President Sandy, the most asked question probably
yes, certainly
for
the most asked
the
question.
entire, since it has been mentioned that the amenities fee has been reinstated by Campus Bursary. So why do we have to pay amenities fee? Why is that?
Thank you very much, Tamika, for your introduction. And again, good evening, members, for coming today and connecting with us. And we saw it fit that we have this conversation, to have this discussion with you regarding the amenities fee. Now, I want to give you the timeline of events. Now, in June 25th, we had Campus Finance and General Purposes Committee. And that is where the Guild President, the Guild Treasurer, and the Postgrad President sit as your reps on that board, on that committee of the campus. Our very first paper, now, first of all, we were installed as the Guild on the 1st of June. 25th was our very first FNGPC. And our first paper on the first topic we had was the amenities fee. So the Guild has always been in front of this situation from the very start. We would have presented on that FNGPC that the amenities fee, and I, as president, saw it going into a conundrum where members will ask the question, and reasonably so, why is this fee being reinstated? Because if we cross our minds back, last year, around the same time, there was a decision by the principal that the fee would be waived. Because COVID was there, we didn't know how to operate, we didn't know how to move on, and the fee was obsolete in everyone's eyes. So it was easy to waive. Now the fee is back again. And the question we would have raised, we would have continuously raised it. And in June, the Guild would have realized that we are heading into an academic year, most likely being virtual again, because COVID is not letting up. And we would have said, and we'd have raised again, that the fee is not, it is not in a position to provide services for students, to provide amenities to students, because they will not be able to benefit from it. Now, the student amenities fee, when it was introduced back in 2017, was there. It was introduced as a way to assist students in navigating their campus experience and providing amenities and services to help you have a comfortable learning environment. Now that there is no physical campus, we have to reimagine what are those services and what are those amenities for. Now, if you also remember, if you were able to be on campus, that the fund would have been able to fund the Wi-Fi on campus, the shuttles, the various water dispensers, and other things that students will request, because the amenities fund, you can recommend what you would like to see, because the fund is there to meet the expectations of the students. It is there to meet the expectations of the students. And you are the ones to provide what are those expectations. And you do so through the Guild of Students. And we present that to you on your behalf at the Amenities Fund Committee, where myself and the Treasurer sits. And we're able to provide proposals and so on to have the fee. And the fund has been used previously. But again, we now have to reimagine where we are going. And we would have said that the fee is not being paid to, if you are paying a fee, you will expect that you get the benefits. And in our view, we would not see it in that direction given the circumstances. So I want to make sure and go over the timeline of events. And that wasn't FNGPC. So we would have asked the principal, waived that fee back in June 25th. It was therefore recommended, and of course, Gil also said that we will only support or we will only acknowledge a fee reinstatement if, of course, the campus is able to provide services and amenities that will benefit every student wherever they are in this pandemic. Because the fee is there to meet the expectations of students. So we must meet our expectations. We have needs, we have issues experienced by this online schooling, and certainly the amenities fee, if it was meant, if the campus is going in a direction to have amenities to assist us in navigating the online environment, then by all means. But if there is no amenities, the fee should be paid. Because we would have understood as well that when you're paying a bill, you will expect to get the utilities that you are paying for. So in the same principle is the amenities fund. It was decided then that we will call the student amenities fund committee meeting. That was called. The principal would have guided and he said, well, of course, let us look at the amenities fund going forward, and let us come back to the FNGPC and see or come back to him and to see if we will waive it or not. So that, of course, in next month, we would have went to that committee meeting. We would have reinstated our position. And it was therefore came to conclusion that the Guild will bring forth a proposal on how the fund could be used. Now, it is easy for me to say waive the fee. And of course, if members would like us to, if you members would like us to go and say waive the fee, we can, by all means, we can make that advocacy and see where we get from there. But it would be remiss of me to not explain and to not bring a different perspective for us to understand. Now, I kept saying that we can miss an opportunity. We can miss a chance to assist all of us as students in navigating this online learning experience. It has been a difficult year. It has been a tumultuous year. It has been a very challenging year to navigate. And I, as Guild President, made it my duty when I came in this chair to ensure the welfare of our members be made mandatory priority, that the mental health of you remain priority. And of course, we look at learning, teaching and learning going forward in a pandemic, because we are still trying to navigate how can we have the maximum quality of teaching and learning in an online modality. And it has been challenging. We have had issues of a widened digital divide. There are reports coming out of every quarter saying that mental health, depression, and anxiety has skyrocketed. Food security is certainly at a minimum among the members. Opportunities for employment, zero, almost zero throughout the region by the pandemic. Opportunities to be able to advance and establish yourself as well as an incoming contributor to society also is limited. And given those circumstances, I, as president, and of course leading a council, would have realized that we can miss an opportunity if we do not look at this fund, look at this amenities fee we are paying here, and see how can this benefit us in this time. So by me saying we have the fee is okay, but I am looking at every one of us and all of our development. I see this fee being able to provide more mental health services for all of us. I can see this fee providing opportunities for us to develop our skill sets so that we can establish ourselves in a better, of course, in a better scope in society. I can see more opportunities for us to be able to navigate this online learning environment. And I would like to ensure that you, members of the Guild of Students, all of the students, understand this perspective as well. So whilst we say that if you are concerned, and certainly you won't be able to come on campus and use the Wi-Fi, you won't be able to come on campus and use the water dispenser or anything that the amenities fee before you used to pay. So now what we are asking is, tell us, what are those needs? Because if we are going back to the committee to present a proposal as to how the fee could be used, we would like to hear from you. We would like to hear from you, what are those issues you would have faced in the pandemic that you thought that the university, that the campus would have dropped the ball on? What are those issues you thought that you think that the campus should do to assist you in trying to ensure that you have a best learning system? What are those issues you would have faced while being home and learning? In your mental health, in your physical well-being? What are those things that you would have suffered tremendously that you would like the Guild of Students, as well as the campus by extension, provide for you to assist you going forward? And that is why we are launching today the Amenities Fund Survey to understand your position. The Guild of Students is not in favor of putting more fees on on any student. In principle, we do not support any increases in fees at all. And we would never support a fee being reinstated if it isn't there for your benefit at all. Because we are also students. I am also a student. And I want to know, if I'm paying a fee, that I get every benefit to be derived. So certainly, we would like to hear from you as to what are those issues that you have been facing or have faced, that you think the ball was dropped and you would like us to improve on it going forward. So I think the PRO and team would have put the link of the survey in the chats. It will be published on our platforms, and we are engaging to have 2,000 students. We want 2,000 students engage that link to add in their thoughts. And think within and see what are those things you would like us to address. So of course, that is the timeline of events. And if, of course, you do not want the fee at all, you do not want anything from the fee in this online learning, you state so in the survey. But we would like to have data-driven advocacy. So when we attend the campus meetings, we can have your statistics and what you would like to see, what you don't want to see, what you want to see improve on, and have campus act on it. And that there is our position. Our position is that I am here explaining that we are not in favor of a fee being reinstated if no benefits have to be derived. If the amenities fee is not meeting the expectations of the student population. Because that is what the fee is, it was made for. And you can check on the websites and see why the fee was created back in 2017. It said that the UWI, that the campus is tasked with ensuring that we meet the needs and the expectations of today's students. Today's student has changed dramatically from the students in 2019, 18, 17, and back then. So if the circumstances change, therefore, what the fund will be used for must also be changed. We are living in a progressive environment, and as a progressive Guild of Students, we must ensure that this is communicated to the membership.
Just to interject there, President, I see a good question coming out from the audience. they're basically saying that there's no need for a survey because it makes no sense to pay for a service that we cannot use. So can we state explicitly what the amenities fee would be used for, considering that we are now in the virtual space?
Right. Now, again, so the amenities fee back in 2017, it was introduced that the circumstance there was a physical campus. So you would have amenities to suit the physical campus. Now that we are on an online campus, you have to have amenities to suit an online campus. Now we would have seen, and we would have done our research and seen where in other campuses, what they use their fund for. The University of Toronto uses their fund, and that fee, it covers the entire counseling services of the campus. I am aware, and I'm very sure members who are viewing here are also aware that the counseling services are burdened on our campus. It is difficult to seek a counselor or somebody to help you, somebody to advise, somebody to provide assistance, somebody to be there to give a safe zone for you to express yourself. It is difficult. It has always been difficult, even pre-COVID-19. Because mental health has been suffered tremendously, we see an opportunity. Now, nothing here is cast in stone, but this is my thoughts. And we see an opportunity of expanding the CAP services delivered on campus, and it can be utilized by the amenities fund. Let us advance and put more resources in mental health of members, because I will never want to see the day. I do not want to live to see a day where someone takes their life because of the circumstances around them, and we were unable to provide assistance to ensure that they do not reach that stage. At no point must I sit as president, because at that point, we will all come back and say, we coulda and shoulda, and we should have done that. So to answer the question in entirety, it is up to you to decide what you would like to see the fee be paid for. What you would like to see improve within the circumstance as a pandemic and is an online environment. So back in 2017, if students wanted water dispenser at LRC, that certainly is different in 2021. Your need might be to have devices. We have channeled, and we would have, of course, pushed in those 2 meetings I would have explained before, that this fund could expand the laptop loan program to ensure every student who are in need of a device can be in the seats of one. We have also added that this fund could actually provide data and internet support packages, and we would have seen practice in many other countries for tertiary level students. And this fund could provide for that if you decide that is the way to go. So we're looking at the circumstances, we're looking at the needs of members, and of course, see how the fund can be used. Again, I say that we can go and say the fee ought to be waived. We can push and we can advocate for that. We can advocate for the semester one at least being waived, if that is the direction you are going. But I'm saying again, I would like to bring a perspective for us to also be aware of, for us to also understand and be open about as well. Because when midterms reach or when final exams reach, you want to have avenues, have a safe space to ensure that your anxieties and any mental health issues that you may have are not, that it doesn't consume you. We want to ensure that when you are home doing your studies, it is done in a safe space. so that you can have the best. Because again, I started off by saying that mental health and welfare of the members of the students are top priority. I will not want to play Russian roulette with mental health of the membership. And if we have an opportunity, a glimmer of hope to address those issues, then so be it.
So some more thoughts coming out from our viewing audience at this time. And we thank you, honestly, for the respect. We understand the nature of the amenities fee, being that we are in a virtual space right now. We can tell that you are upset, you are angry, because at the end of the day, you have to pay the fees, and us on the guild, we also have to pay the fees. So one student said in the comments, why reinstate the amenities fee if we are at home and not on campus? I know you briefly touched on it, President Sandy, but just to reiterate, it basically makes no sense to reinstate a fee that is to be used by students on the physical campus when we are at home and not able to utilize any of the campus's services. So just to be clear, now that we are in the virtual space, the amenities fee is going to be used for, as you mentioned, anything that the students want in this new space, in this virtual space. We can literally bargain for anything that we want. So what do those things look like? So give some examples of what exactly the amenities fee will cover now online.
Right, again. So thank you again for the question, Tamika, and to the members of the listening audience. Now, what I'm saying is that you decide that. We decide what should the fund pay for. We can't compare a physical campus to an online campus. So there are no physical amenities on campus at this time. You could put that in your mind. So if there are no physical amenities, what this amenities fee paying? It will of course have amenities that will help us within the virtual environment. So we decide what what the fee can be used for, and it can be done through that survey. I would like to hear your voice in numerical order, choosing that survey as with regards to what you would like to see the fee contribute to. What exactly you would like the fee to be paid on? What services do you foresee, or would you like to see be installed, not on a physical campus, but on to help us navigate the online learning environment? So if it is, we have student development services, where we expand the World of Work program to have every student benefit that program, that they can go to resume workshops, have masterclass series on personal branding and development to help you establish yourself in society. Those are kind of things that other campuses have been doing for years, even before COVID, on the amenities, on what the amenities pay for. So we can decide, we can make a decision, and when I mean we, I mean the student population, what they would like to see. Because in the past, if students would like to see a certain physical infrastructure be improved, like SAC, or they would like to see benches or more tents or whatever, they can request that through the Guild of Students, who will then make that demand at the relevant committees. So in this similar context, you would, of course, provide us through this survey that we have available, what are those things you would like to see happen? And of course, help us to expand that point at the committee to have them decide what services they can pay for, that we can pay for, to help us in this circumstance. Now, I saw a question on the guild fee, and I would like to make a difference on the guild fee and the amenities fee. The guild fee is there to, of course, go towards student activities and engagement. And all our clubs, all our societies will they are the ones that fall under the Guild of Students to receive funding to do their activities. All our committees and other things that we will be using Guild funds for to help with engagement, activities, and part subsidies as well to assist students, to assist the members of the Guild of Students, which are the students. The amenities fee, it is there where campus provides services and amenities that will assist students in assisting them in navigating, I keep saying that word, navigating their learning experience. So, and of course, making in a physical context, making amenities for students to be comfortable as well in their learning space. So that's where you have the water dispensers, you have the girl shuttles, and you have pavements and benches and all of those aesthetics. But now that is no longer a possibility. You have to ask yourself, what are those amenities that can be introduced to help me help me in the online environment? So that is what I'm trying to, of course, raise as well. Again, I state, if it is that that you members would like us to push and advance that the fee to be waived, say it, you tell us, we will respect it and we will move with it. But it would be remiss of me as Guild President to not explain to the members, explain to you as well, what benefits we can achieve going forward. The PRO, I'm not sure if you have more questions from me as well.
Yes, so considering the alternate side of the spectrum, and students have shared what they've been experiencing so far in terms that they have been having financial challenges because of the pandemic, and they have an inability to pay fees because of that. Can we bargain for no amenities fees?
Certainly, we can advance it. We can make the recommendation and make, of course, the advocacy on the students we have, that this is not the direction that the students would like to go, and a waiver be placed. I cannot guarantee that will be sure, but what I can give you the assurance that we will make the representations where needed going forward.
Thank you so much for that. They would have been asking if we were stuck basically between a rock and a hard place where we have to pay the fees. So this is just reassurance for students. You have the option to give us what it is you would like to see, whether that be less fees, decreased fee, or no fee at all. So now we really encourage you to take part in the survey. Yeah. So we are just here to do our best on the part of representation. We hear your concerns. We are, even on the council, going through some of the same challenges. So we understand. Just know that we hear your pleas, and we will do our best, and we will let you know as soon as possible how best the situation can be rectified. So that will be all on the amenities fee presentation. Thank you so much for all Q&A or questions that have been coming in.
If it is, the fee is indeed given the waiver, we will be able to communicate that to you as well as to campus. But again, I would like us to understand our position as well, in that we can get benefits, we can get things done to help us, certainly help us going forward. We can have expanded counseling service, we can have expanded device assistance and device repair assistance. We can also have expanded internet services as well to help you in your final examinations, in your midterms. The opportunities are endless if you tell us what are they, and we can go forward with it. Right. But as for now, the fee is there for now. It is reinstated, so we move with that. But we will also make the necessary representations to campus executive that this is where the students would like to go, and they are going, and we can come to some kind of agreement with.
So thank you so much for that, President Sandy. Once again, if you have any more concerns about the amenities fee, be sure to send them. We will get back to you, definitely. But just to echo Guild President Sandy on that note, we are here to represent you, whether that be a waived fee or no fee at all. It is certainly always your decision. So now we will be heading into our discussion on the reopening of the semester, the opening of the 2021-2022 semester one, and we will be joined by a very special guest today as well, the Faculty of Medical Sciences representative, as well as the Guild Academic Committee Chairperson, Miss Melissa Jack. She will be here with us just to discuss everything that you need to know about registration that is happening on next week, Monday, the 23rd of August. So please be sure to attend your academic advising, orientation. They are all underway. You can check out all of the links that are being provided if you need them right now in our chat, as well as our Guild link tree. So I hand the floor over to Ms. Jack as well as Mr. Sandy.
Yes, so thank you very much, Ms. Thomas, again for the return. I want to make the point clear to the members that the Guild is here with you. And I don't want you to think as well that the Guild is not doing anything. We always say that the Guild not doing anything and the Guild won't do anything. But I assure you that your counselors, that your executive, and me as Guild President is working assiduously every day to ensure that your interest is at heart. And very soon you'll be hearing the outlay of projects and programs and initiatives that the Guild will be spearheading going forward. So I would like you to also know that we are right here with you, and your voice certainly is never silent under this administration. I want to go with opening of semester one. And now, if you check your student emails today, there will have been an internal communique that was circulated today by campus principal regarding the opening of semester one. Many who are asking, yes, the semester would be remotely online again. We would be returning to our online space. And assessments as well, for the most part, would also remain online. Where the difference lies is that laboratories and practicals will be given consideration, will be given opportunities for physical arrangements. So if you have labs, whether it be at FST, whether it be at engineering, even if you are FHE student, FFA, and of course our medical students who have been on the grounds even before, will continue to go outside. If you are part of other faculties that have practicals, will be given opportunities as well to have. Field trips will be there as well if that is a part of your assessment. I would implore you to go to that email and look at the announcement by campus principal. What I would say regarding the opening of campus as well on vaccination, there is no policy on mandatory vaccination. There is no policy to staff or student, given that you is a microcosm of society. The government has no policy and certainly will not be the UWI. We don't have any policy on mandatory vaccination. However, it is strongly recommended and suggested to be vaccinated. But of course, the Guild and the Guild of Students, we of course are the members, we are part of academia, and we set ourselves in science and logic, and of course we support the vaccination. We have the vaccine rollout happening as we speak. I believe that first shots have returned by appointment to the HSU department. And you can also check out that on your email as well. So it is strongly recommended to be vaccinated, but there is no policy on mandatory vaccination. However, where there is an exception with regards to hall, only 2 halls will be operational, which will be for this semester, which will be JGI Hall and SAL Hall. And those are the 2 halls will be available for student accommodations. In that communique, you will also understand where you are going with that. Those who would have applied for hall living should have been given the document by accommodation as regarding to what that entails. For regional students, and I want to make sure, and if you are a regional student, a foreign student, that this is for you specifically. Of course, you have to be vaccinated to come into Trinidad and Tobago if you have to come to Trinidad for your labs and practicals. So you have to be vaccinated. That is government policy. And of course, with a WHO approved vaccine and fully vaccinated. And I think that is after your 2 shots, you have 2 weeks as well to wait to be considered fully vaccinated. So you must be fully vaccinated to come into the country. You must also have, in 72 hours before arrival, have a PCR test that is negative, right? As well as you also have to interface with a website online by the government or travel pass. You have to apply for that also 72 hours before arrival in the country. So those are the things that you have to do. Those are available as well in the communique with the relevant links for you to go on and see. I know there have been conversations regarding assessment, and our regionals have been asking the question as to when will we be able to come back to the country to do our labs. In the communique, the principal would have made it clear that faculties are asked to be very flexible with their arrangements on labs and practicals. When they are scheduling the labs, they must be flexible on it. So that will mean that the Guild of Students will be a part here, and this is our position. All our Guild faculty reps will be working as seriously with the deans and the departments and the faculties to ensure that that scheduling for labs are in tandem with experiences, because we know that it takes a good while to come to the country, especially with this pandemic happening. If you are vaccinated, you have to take a whole month sometimes to wait for the two doses. Of course, the next 2 weeks for approval as a fully vaccinated person. So because they have that time delay, as well as persons to get resources as well to come down the country, will be time consuming. So those are the various circumstances that are around, and the Guild reps would make it their duty to ensure that those things are ventilated very clearly at the faculty level, to ensure that when there are scheduling of these labs, that it is not in a way to abuse and of course to disadvantage students who is no fault of them at all. I would have made it very clear when I sat in a meeting to plan the opening of semester 1 that communication is of due importance, and we maintain that position, that we must be communicated regarding any movements on campus, especially if it is labs, if it is practicals. Now, these things require approval from the relevant health authorities. So that is why you also have a little delay in the time dissemination, but certainly your Guild reps on faculty will ensure that that your issues will be addressed and that those things are given to you before time so that you can make the relevant arrangements. With regards to accommodation, if you're asking, I have already prepared to have a meeting with the Director of Student Services and Development and the manager at student accommodations to discuss hall living, and also what are those contingencies, because we are asking ourselves that if one student is to be tested for COVID-19, what is the protocol? You have to go over that to ensure that again, students are not disadvantaged. Because we don't want that you have to return to the country and you still have labs to do, you still have various work to do on campus as well, and you are at a loss. So we are having this meeting beforehand. So even in the case there is an issue, even if there is an issue, of course, there would be, we would address it frontally. So that is our position there. I want to invite Melissa to discuss and to, before I go there, Tamika, do you have any questions from the chat regarding the opening of semester one from our members?
Definitely many questions, both from our national and our regional students. And I just want to pay particular attention, very briefly, to our regional students. They are also as important to us as those who live here. So we don't want you to feel as though you are forgotten, although many times it may feel as such. So speaking specifically for the regional students at this time, if a regional or an international student is unable to make travel arrangements in time, due to short notice on a campus practical, how would that inability to complete the practical affect their progression through the duration of the course? Is it possible that they will receive credits?
Thank you again. Very valid question. This has been raised, and that is why it was said that faculties have to be flexible in how they schedule. So even if you are a regional student, certainly there are these external factors that will affect you. And on a case-by-case basis, I would like you to reach out to your guild rep to explain the situation, and we can make the advances. We can make the advances with faculties and with the relevant deans and officials, so that, of course, your circumstances catered for. So don't fear at all. We are with you, of course, to ensure that you are given quality service by the campus. So if that is indeed a challenge, we ask that you reach out to the relevant persons. If it's a lecturer, the first person we should reach out to is your lecturer, right? And make a call here that we want to see class reps in every class for every course. Let that be communicated to your lecturer. You go up to your course coordinator, you go up to your HOD, our deputy deans, our deans, and then of course the deputy principal or principal, if of course the case is so peculiar. So yet there are levels that the guild is with you at every single level going forward. So I would like members not be fearful. If this is an issue, or if you're experiencing similar issues of this nature, to explain it to us, and let us of course have the needful and have the officers assist and ensure that they are flexible in their arrangements. But with regards to the credit, I can't really answer the question because I'm not an admin. But certainly, I think when it comes to the rescheduling of courses to fit your circumstance, I think that is also a possibility, a great one indeed, and we'll continue in that state.
So thank you for that, President. And just keeping on the stream of the regional and international students, and Ms. Jack can also interject here. Why is it that regional and international students with labs must return to Trinidad? Will considerations be made to labs that would have been conducted via simulation for these students?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
I could answer in terms of certain students. In terms of my faculty, medical sciences, there are certain things that has to be done practically. We are professional faculty, and we are essentially all of our programs within medical sciences, it's very dependent on doing very physical skills. So there's no way that a future doctor can learn certain skills through testing on a virtual platform. You have to be able to be in person. First, I'm only speaking in terms of medical sciences here, just to be clear, because this is what I can attest to. There are certain things that you can only feel, hear, or see in person when you have a patient encounter. And that is why within certain year groups within medical sciences, you have to present yourself in order to pass either that exam or that section of the course. That is why you would have to make yourself available. And you can especially to medical sciences students, you can reach out to me if you need assistance in, getting into the country. I know, especially within the last year, what happened is that regional students couldn't make the first date that we had our skills exams, and provisions were made with any faculty to have a second date, a second examination date provided for when all of our regional and international students would have come into the country by then. So I could only attest to medical sciences in this case, but there are certain skills and requirements that are required in order for graduation that can only be done in the physical setting.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Jack, for that clarification. And I saw another question that came out based on Kobe's response in regards to assessments. You mentioned assessments will be flexible, but what about larger exams, for example, midterms and finals? Would those be online or would they be blended?
Well, for the most part, if you check the communique, exams and assessments will remain remote as well. But there are certain exams and certain assessments, like in those same professional faculties like FMS and engineering, that is being asked to be face-to-face, right? And those are on a case-by-case basis. Not it would be broad brush on a case-by-case basis, and they must of course have the permission by the health officials. Right, but that has to be communicated through your lecturers and through your faculties as well, right? But for the most part, exams and assessments will be remote and online.
Thank you for that. And I know that we also await, the guild itself usually waits for official communique from the university itself. So a question was asked whether or not semester 2 will also be online.
I can't say, honestly can't say, that is for probably further exam, but again, it is in the context of national community, because we are still under a SOE, and we still have various restrictions in place as well regarding teaching and learning. So even though we have a slow communication, also be mindful that schooling is not allowed at this time, and that has to be changed by the government via the public health regulations. So until that is changed as well, that is also when we can be given the information as to how labs and so on will actually operate. So you have been given a provisional understanding as to where it will go, but things can change. And we have seen that we are living in unprecedented times. Things can change, things have been changing, but we just have to be mindful of those things as well. So only when the public health ordinances change to reflect schooling, because even in the measure of education, there are drafts being circulated, nothing confirmed, nothing is given any authority as yet. So we are still in abeyance, unfortunately.
So thank you for that. We have quite a lot of questions coming out from our regional and international community. So at this time, I think we should do our best to address that as best as possible. So would allowances be made for students whose countries have not yet opened their borders? Can we say at this time?
So for countries who have not opened their borders, and again, it's a case-by-case basis. So I know in Trinidad, when our borders were closed, and we had students outside of Trinidad to come back in the country, there were certain exemptions by the government. So this is a UWI and government kind of arrangement that will have to happen, and that to be factored in. So if that is your circumstance, we advise that you reach out to your department that is requesting that you come back to the country for laboratories. So you reach out to them and let, of course, us advance it. You, of course, we guide that you continue to use your school emails, use the power of copying and CC. Very important to CC. You can CC the Guild of Students via your Guild reps in your faculties as well in the communication, so that we are also aware of your situation, so we can advance accordingly as well. But we ask you that the persons or the lecturers who are asking for that to come out, that you engage them to ensure that they are informed of your situation, because it wouldn't be everybody, it would be under a case-by-case basis. So let us also have that as well factored in.
Thank you. And once again, for our regional and international students, Ms. Jack can also interject here as well. Just to clarify, for regional students, are they expected to come to Trinidad for the first semester to do labs and practicals, or will there be an option for them to do it online?
That is dependent on the faculties and how faculty decide. And so I don't think if FMS could also give her perspective in FMS, because that will also relate to other professional faculties as well. So Melissa, you could explain what's happening there with online labs and so on, if that's a thing.
Yes, so as you're saying, it's dependent on each faculty, and seeing that, you know, the communication was made very recently on the decision to only go forward with labs and whatnot. I think we as the Guild reps would have to make the advancements to find out for certain which students or which, you know, courses, etc., would specifically want labs. In FMS, I know clinical students are expected to be present because that's where we would, you know, be on the wards and whatnot. So our clinical students have to make themselves available to be present. The other students will be, as stated in the, you know, internal communique, online, and they will get further information. I know we would hope the information comes as soon as possible on whether they will be expected to do labs online for regional or international students, or if they will have to present themselves at a later date.
So thanks for that. Just putting the question out there, I know that we may not be able to answer on behalf of the university itself, but besides the official quarantine period for Trinidad and Tobago, that is the 14 days mandate, is the university fully prepared to deal with a possible contamination if it occurs, or do they have a structure in place to ensure that students who are coming onto the campus, both local and international and regional, are tested regularly for the virus?
Okay, indeed, a comprehensive question indeed, but there is a plan. I can't say I haven't seen it in person, but I will certainly get that on hand to understand and ventilate to the members. With regards to on campus, because there were no students on campus, it should be a new phenomenon. So certainly there will be plans, but if you are labs, there will just be coming to campus to do the lab and returning where you came from.
I could also answer into the structure, because seeing that medical students have been out, and as well as the GG, I know this within the capacity of medical sciences, the regulations are quite simple to follow. So yes, they have their 14 days, and what normally happens is if you have a suspected case of someone being exposed to a COVID positive patient, you are advised to, you know, make the necessary communications to let the faculty know. Within medical sciences, we have a particular form and whatnot that you have to fill out, so that they know that there's a possible exposure. Within that, this is now on your responsibility to follow the same guidelines that have been placed within the national atmosphere. You've been exposed to a potential COVID positive individual, you isolate and quarantine yourselves within your house for that 7 or 14 days period. This is on you. Obviously, I'm not sure if they will strengthen the protocols to possibly have a representative call you or whatnot, but that's what happens. You have a identified exposure, you quarantine, you get yourself tested, and you make the persons closest to you aware that you may have been exposed, so they should also isolate and quarantine. That's simply the guidelines. With COVID aren't really different everywhere. If you know you've been exposed, you safeguard yourselves as well as your family, your friends, everyone that you came in contact with. Within our medical sciences, students who have been on wards and may have been exposed randomly or through their family or whatnot, they had to remove themselves from the ward situation and stay in the 7 to 14 days isolation. And there was a form that they had to fill out each day that tracked their progression of symptoms. So you would go on the form and say, all right, day 1, you had no symptoms. The second day, if you had cough, you had fever, things like that, so that it's easily tracked, as well as you get your test done at the nearest health center.
Thank you so much.
And if I may, Madam Moderator, if I might add that the campus is very strict on its protocols. And certainly for labs, not the whole class would ever be in the same space. Because I believe there is a certain percentage that is nationally accepted for how much students can be in a classroom at one time. I think it boils down to about 16% thereabouts. And so, of course, that is why courses that are doing labs will require approval beforehand. So even you may be in group A or group B or group C. It is dependent on how faculties adjust and make their adjustments. But I would like to have, I know she isn't prepared, but we have on the Zoom right now Dr. Kato, who is our Deputy Principal Acting and also she's the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities. And given that she is also a Dean, she can probably explain to us how that scheduling can take place so our members can be aware of it. So I'm not sure if he's in a position to explain at this time, but I'm leaving the floor open to you, Dr. Kato.
Let me just say good night, students. Thank you, Kobe, for springing this on me. But I've been listening to you all. I've been hearing your conversations. I think you all are raising some very important issues. And I think out of this, we will get a very good sense of the things that are affecting our students and what we should look more deeply into. With respect to labs, it's difficult to say that there's one formula. It would depend on the nature of the lab, the nature of the space, the number of students, and what you have to get done. What I can say is that our major goal is to make sure that our students are safe. I also can say that any plan we develop, because according to the course, the plan will be different. It has to pass through several levels of approval, from our own OSH unit to the Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago. And it is only then that we can say that this is the plan that we have. They will look at it, they will make adjustments, and ultimately it will be passed. So all those safeguards have to be put in place. There's not going to be any one protocol. We have to make a different plan for each circumstances. But I just want to assure students that our priority is safety. And we are all committed to working with our students, working with their representatives to make sure that everyone is safe and working in a comfortable space. Our moving back into campus will be gradual, very gradual, and we will make sure that all the safeguards are in place.
Thank you very much, our Deputy Principal Acting, for bringing that information to us. So certainly we would have heard from her regarding that particular question. Back to you, Margarita.
Yes, more questions coming in from our regional and international students. They want to know if we know if the university has made provisions outside of halls for students to reside at. For example, apartments that need to be just about outside of the campus.
Right. I would have asked that question if accommodations will be able to provide that guidance to external providers. Unfortunately, they wouldn't be able to vet because, of course, that will require persons to go and investigate on apartments and to accredit it. And again, these are private persons. So they are not bound by the UWI's policy. So these are apartments who we can only ask for their cooperation. But certainly they are there. You can reach out to student accommodations to get referrals if you like, and that is available. It mightn't be a lot, but certainly the service is available to provide that, that window of opportunity as well. On the guild side, I know he hasn't heard it yet, but our National Affairs Committee Chairperson is responsible for representing students with regards to off-campus accommodations, and I will ask the NACC to assist when it comes to getting contacts of persons who might be of various rental places around campus that we can provide. It is affordable, it is safe, and it is sound for all students who would like to be there.
Thank you so much. I don't think we have any more questions coming in at this time, but please be sure to send if you have any more. And we will now open for the discourse on registration presented by Ms. Melissa Jack.
All right, so good afternoon again. Well, good night again to everyone. My task is simple. I'll just be giving an overview of the registration process, since registration is just around the corner, and this is somewhere that some students have issues within especially our incoming members, as well as some students usually have some registration issues. So I'll just go over the registration process and point out a few key details that everyone should pay attention to. So the registration process essentially does not change at all. It is a 7-step process. So the first thing everyone needs to know is the registration information. Registration opens on the 23rd of August, which is next week, Monday. The normal registration period is from the 23rd of August to the 17th of September. However, due to the introduction of this new fee-based system, there will be no late registration fees. So where late registration would have been from the 18th of September to October 1st, we can consider the registration as being from the 23rd of August to October 1st. What I would like to say here is that let's all try to register as soon as possible. So in the case of persons making mistakes or realizing, different things and whatnot, you'll be able to correct that issue as soon as possible. So don't wait till, the last day of September to now register, because you might find yourself in some problems. So I'll just call out the dates again. Registration is from the 23rd of August, next week, Monday, essentially up until the 1st of October. But let's try to keep it in the normal registration period of 23rd of August to the 17th of September so that we minimize as many problems as we can. Okay, so the second step of registration is for essentially Trinidad and Tobago nationals or students who are using GATE. This is where you would go to the GATE website and sign up for your GATE ID for the new incoming cohort, or you would go and do your GATE fee sheet, reapply for GATE. That's obviously, we know the GATE regulations have changed, so that's only for students who are utilizing GATE at this moment. The next part of registration is academic advising. Academic advising is mandatory for all new students as well as all engineering students. For everyone else, it's highly recommended that you attend academic advising so that you know what you are really doing for the upcoming semester. After you attend academic advising, you are able to select your courses online. For new students, you will not be able to register for courses online if you don't attend academic advising. There's an academic advising hold that is lifted once you attend academic advising. So in selecting your courses online, make sure that you follow the different regulations. If they tell you put it in an SO1 or whatever section, make sure you put the correct sections, make sure you put the relevant course codes and whatnot so that you are registering for accurate courses. Make sure that you register for the courses that you are supposed to do, and don't register for courses that are not within your programs, or you see and you think you might want to do it. Make sure that's the importance of academic advising, so that you register for courses that you need in order to graduate. Here, you will actually be able to select co-curricular courses online in the same drop-down registration map. So students who want to apply for co-curricular courses would be able to do that online. Faculty overrides, if you need to apply for a faculty override, you must do so by September 28th. Again, let's not wait till the last day to do these applications, but your deadline for faculty overrides would be September 28th, and they would be approved by your respective faculties by October 1st. Okay, so that's basically steps 1 to 4 of registration. Continuing with the 7-step process, we've heard about step 5 a lot this evening, which is enrolling in fee pay to obtain financial clearance, which is the new system and is also mandatory for new and continuing students. So we've heard about it already. I won't go over fee pay, but this is where you make your payments in order to obtain financial clearance. For step 6, this is UWI ID Smart Card. Our new members will be able to obtain their UWI ID cards. Just check out the UWI ID card website to know the various steps that you have to take. There's certain stipulations on the picture that you take. It must be a white background. You must, the face, whatever it is, with the face dimensions and whatnot. So there's essentially, if you don't follow the instructions, it wouldn't be accepted. So I think we can ask the PRO to also link the ID card website in the chats for you to see and start preparing, because you can only do this after you've completed steps 1 to 5, or at least steps 1 to 4. So this is step 6 with the UWI ID. Our members from last year would not have gotten their UWI ID cards, but you will also be able to obtain that this year, as well as students who may have lost their ID cards, or it may have been stolen within the last year or whatnot. The ID card office was closed, as is many things within the campus. So the system that is hopefully going to be implemented is that you do everything online as before, and there will be an appointment system for the collection of ID cards. You would make an appointment and you get a specific date and time. The venue and all that will be confirmed, and I'm sure the ID card office and the various marketing and communications emails would identify to all the students when the appointment system would begin. So that is step 6. Essentially, everyone will be able to get an ID card, whether they are new or continuing students who has to get ID cards if it was lost, or it's the old ID cards that still need to be updated to the smart card. The last step within registration will be maintaining financial clearance. And this is the part where you pay within everything from the payment of your compulsory fees, as well as the tuition or whatnot, within the stipulated deadlines, whether you decide, as was stated within fee pay, to pay everything upfront, or you use the specific deadlines for your 70% payment plan. And that is essentially all the important details for registration. So failure to register accurately and within the deadlines for the university would see that you would have things like ER holes being placed on your on basically my learning and whatnot. Or if you decided to do a course, and you did it for the entire semester, after close to the examination time, you see that you don't have access to the portal, or you cannot write the exam. If you did not register, you cannot write an exam, and it would not reflect on your transcript. So let's avoid persons doing courses for the entire semester and then being unable to write the final exam. So essentially, whatever courses you are doing, make sure that you are registered and have followed all 7 steps in order to get that clearance. Students who don't register will also be most likely be placed on compulsory leave and whatnot. If you have any questions or concerns, we're supposed to, our guild reps are there to help you. Just message or email any one of them to find out if you're going wrong on a certain step or whatnot. Again, as was stated many times before, please make sure to use your UWI emails as it's your official form of communication. So I think if anyone has any questions on registration or anything so far, Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
could go ahead and ask.
So this question is specifically for FMS students, new FMS students, specifically DVM students. They would like to know, how would they find out if they have labs?
Essentially, I would be working with the various students associations so that we are able to find out which students, which year groups have labs, and that will be communicated to each year group, as well as it may also be a topic of conversation within academic advising and the various orientations that will happen within the faculty within the first week of September. So you know more of that information as the classes begin.
Thank you so much for that. Students are quite aware of the registration process. Be sure to register next week, Monday. Registration opens on the 23rd of August. So be sure to check your My Campus navigation and be sure to complete your registration. In regards to questions about GATE and the university presidents, I don't know if you have any other closing remarks, but just to clarify, for GATE payments, we can only direct students to the GATE website. We can't really speak on behalf of GATE. However, just to confirm that yes, the university has spoken with GATE about the new fee-based system.
Yes,
So
they have spoken with GATE.
They
And
are
of
aware
course, and of course, we know that it's been announced by Mrs. Gooding earlier today that GATE has assured the UWI St. Augustine that faster approval will be given to us as students who are applying for GATE. But that is indicative of us registering for it, applying for it early. So use now to apply for GATE as much as possible. So get your documents, make sure you're within the means test, and so on and so forth.
And in closing remarks, a few announcements before we leave, because we have officially come to the end of our first virtual town hall. I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in, but it is about that time. We do hope that we were able to answer most of your questions. We were not able to tackle all. However, we do kindly ask that you stay tuned to our social media platforms to get answers on those questions, because we know that you have a lot of concerns, and essentially we are here to assist you as best as we can.
And
so
if you would allow me,
Piero,
and if you'd allow me, I would like all of us as members to be aware that we are all in this together. And the Guild of Students is not the council. The Guild is not the president. The Guild is you. You are the Guild. And in order for us to advance our voice in the best way possible, we ask you to become class reps. We ask you to join a club. We ask you to join a society or association and be participated and be involved, because it's only then we have power in numbers and power by our voice. So we ask you that you be a part and be a proud and cognizant and conscious member of the Guild of Students as we push our agenda in every level of society. So I thank you for your remarks, and of course we understand that we will advance your voice everywhere, whatever, at every level, on campus, national level, on the global level, going forward. And I thank you again for taking the time to be a part.
Thank you. So just a few final and brief announcements before we leave. The Guild Annual General Meeting will be taking place on Thursday, the 16th of September 2021. That is Thursday, the 16th of September 2021. And all members are indeed invited. Stay tuned to our social media platforms for the information on that. The Alma Jordan Library just wants to say a thank you to everyone who tuned in. Be sure to check out the new resources that they have for us on the virtual platforms as of right now. The Alma Jordan Library, once again, that is libraries.sta.ue.edu. In regards to the UE fee pay system, all links regarding the question and answer booklet, the tutorial video can be found on the official St. Augustine, UE St. Augustine social media platforms, as well as our link tree. We have them listed, the tutorial video, as well as the FAQ booklet. Academic advising calendar is out as well, so we do implore you to stay tuned to all of the dates, check the dates for your faculty orientation as well as your academic advising dates. Appointments are being made as of right now virtually, so be sure to register for them. And in terms of graduation is set to take place in October in blended mode. So we do ask that you head on over to the graduation website, the St. Augustine graduation website, where they give you the list of the do's and don'ts of what will be happening for graduation. So with that being said, we just want to say a special thank you. Thank you from Campus Bursary. Thank you from the Guild of Students. Thank you once again to Ms. Heather Cato for joining us today. Any other closing remarks, President?
That's Nina. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you.